On behalf of Wiper Patriotic Front, allow me to make the following statement for immediate release. Dated today, the 2nd day of September 2025. A very good afternoon to all of you, and we thank you for joining us today at Wiper Patriotic Front headquarters. First, on behalf of the party, we extend our sincere condolences to the family of Stephen Katumbu, one of our long-standing members, staffers, who unfortunately lost his son due to illness. We will stand with him and the rest of the family at this very difficult time. Secondly, our rebrand, we launched a 5-day challenge in mid-August, calling on all creatives, especially our Gen Z talent, to help design the new logo for the Wiper Patriotic Front. This challenge had an overwhelming response from within and outside Kenya. We would at this moment take this opportunity to thank all creatives who submitted their designs for our consideration. You were inspiring in your thought process, you engaged our imagination, and you also, through your vision, your reimagination of a patriotic front. While the final selection is not yet final, we will, in the course of the month, review our top 3 choices and, as promised, engage the creatives. In the coming days, we will unveil more as we count down to the National Delegates Congress, slated for October the 10th, 2025. We can assure all Kenyans that we will be bold and we will be loud. This party will set the pace for the next general elections in 2027. Fellow patriots, there is something fundamentally wrong with the state of our nation under the existing regime. Scandal after scandal and attempts to sell off Kenya's crucial infrastructure on the cheap are the modus operandi of this disgraced regime. This is the reason why Kenyans from all corners of our country simply have hashtag one term as their #1 agenda. Shall I repeat one term?
One term.
One term.
One term.
One term.
One term.
Education, for example, is in shambles from primary through to the university. Pupils are being sent home for lack of school fees because of this government's perpetual failure to release capitation funds to schools on time. In the case of the universities, students have received SMSs indicating that their accounts have been credited, only to be turned down on the date of admission. This false information is cruel on Kenyan families, but is the unfortunate methodology of the RUTO regime. This must come to an end. Basic education is a constitutional right that the previous regimes have honored. Why is RUTO not able to continue with this? Where is our money? Capitation must be released today, not tomorrow. University funding must also be made available to all our universities. Mr. RUTO, please stop playing with Kenya's future. Ladies and gentlemen, less than a year since its controversial formation, the Social Health Authority, SHA, continues to frighten in its sheer propensity and appetite for fraud. The 10.6 billion shillings was embezzled to non-existent hospitals and fake patient files, while legitimate hospitals, many of which were founded by missionaries and faith-based groups years before our independence, were forced to close due to unpaid genuine claims. This is inexplicable. To compound the already unexplainable, a non-competitive contract worth 104.8 billion shillings was illegally awarded to a consortium of a dubious nature. Remember, you have said before, this was part of the Adani deals. The contract, which lacked a clear scope of definition, also deliberately handed the ownership of digital healthcare system to this consortium instead of SHA. In fact, we are told the SHA is supposed just to pay, just visit half your house and sit there. They actually have absolutely nothing to do. They just have to report to Mr. Duale's office. If this isn't the definition of systemic or endemic corruption, ladies and gentlemen, what else is it? As the WPF, we put this repressive, oppressive, and excessive regime on notice. Corruption in the healthcare sector is a slow genocide, plain and simple. As the government in waiting, we will insist on the perpetrators being tried for crimes against humanity. This rot is not just limited to the healthcare sector. The e-citizen government platform for handling public funds is a haste, literally another fraud. This digital impunity and operational opacity must come to an end. Ladies and gentlemen, what we are witnessing in Mandera County is what is defined in international law as simply occupation. Mr. Ruto, have you ceded the Kenyan territory to foreign troops? Is your regime too weak to defend Kenya's territorial integrity? Therefore, you have had the governor, Mandera, come out strongly, crying out, please get out these jubilant forces. And the other day, people castigated Rigiji for talking about this issue. Now the truth has come out. This occupational mentality is equally evident in respect to the East African Portland Cement Company and this party and the community of people of Machakos County, and indeed the whole county, are watching in dismay as they try to sell for a song the East African Portland Company. The same, of course, the people in Kajiado. It is not just East African Portland Cement Company, but the Karura Forest as well. Karura Forest evokes very serious emotions. Our late sister, Professor Wangari Maathai, suffered because of Karura Forest. The chairman of CFA, Karura Forest Association, Professor Njuguna, called me yesterday. And what is happening there is completely, and they must stop the nonsense. And they want to build a road through Karura. Kenyans have now developed a habit of going for early morning runs and walks. Please stop Karura. Don't deal with Karura Forest. There's a clear agreement between the Forest Association and KFS, Kenya Forest Service. You know, we will be addressing this issue sometimes sentimentally because we cannot have this country go backwards. I now want to deal with political intolerance, which has been on the rise in recent months, and tell this regime that every Kenyan has the right to be heard anywhere in the country. And no one can claim to own Kenya. Kenya belongs to Kenyans. One nation, one people. That is actually a clarion call as well, even as WPF. Therefore, pre-election violence, you saw when Rigiji was returning home. I mean, men with the full assistance of the police bearing rungus and huge stones, intending to commit murder on the expressway. What a shame. What a shame. If Rigiji had not changed the car that was in, they would have dropped that huge rock on the screen. What would have happened? We saw this again in Mbeere North yesterday. The people of Mbeere I'm quite sure all one term. And they can't wait. They can't wait to teach this regime a lesson. So don't show intolerance. Wait to be defeated in a democratic manner. United opposition will stand together and get this very north seat in a freely, in a very easy manner, and a lot of other some of those other wards and constituencies. I want to mention Wiper Patriotic Front will present a candidate for Kasipul Kabondo. Kasipul, I beg your pardon. It used to be Kasipul Kabondo, Kasipul. And I will go to campaign anywhere in Luo Nyanza because these are my friends. They know our history. And no amount of intimidation will come in our way. So, I really cherish defeating both ODM and UDA in Kasipul. Let us meet them. Let us meet them. But we are telling you, even IBC, so far you have existed as a state organization. The new IBC has not bothered to check with United Opposition on the way forward. We will not allow you. We will come to you. We will come to you. Remember we said we are going to have our own parallel IBC. Men and women who are committed to ensuring that this whole business about stealing elections will never happen again in our country. And finally, IBC has announced the start of voter registration from September 29, 2025. Of course, we must remind them, voter registration in accordance with the law is actually continuous. Yeah? But they had stopped the exercise. So, we urge all Kenyans of legal age to get their IDs and register en masse as voters. And particularly, the young Kenyans who have now attained the age of majority, a lot of them, we know there's an attempt to deny you IDs. We will not allow that to happen. Take out the IDs, register, drive home this regime. This is the way we shall rescue and reclaim our beloved nation from this oppressive regime. Together, we shall hashtag Komboa Kenya. So when I say wiper, utanipa, no, one term, Komboa Kenya.